Have you ever wondered what you would do if you were about to be attacked?
Get out of certain situations. We learn how to be more aware. All of those things play into self-defense.
What if someone stole your identity? Would you know what to do to keep your credit from getting ruined?
Really pay attention to your billing cycles, because if something isn't right or you're missing a bill, it could be because it was diverted somewhere to someone else and now they have your information.
What if a fire started in your kitchen? Are you aware of the latest fire technology? Today's show will teach you how to protect yourself from these dangers and much more.
Protecting yourself is more than just knowing how to fire a gun. It's also about educating yourself and your family about gun safety. Claire told me about how you can protect yourself and your family by learning more about gun safety at Aim High Shooting Range. So Claire, give me a little bit of background about Aim High. Tell us what you do here.
Well, we do a lot of things here. We're a multi-purpose facility. We do a lot of training. We do more training for the civilian market than anybody else. That's why we're called the Family Firearms Center. We also have an indoor shooting range. We sell firearms. We host hunter safety courses. There's just a myriad of things that we actually do here.
I notice there's kids here and ladies. Tell me more about how they're involved.
Well, we actually market towards the youngsters and the ladies. We innovated the ladies' first shots class, which is we're the first facility in Ohio to do that. And we also developed what we call a Teens on Target class for youngsters. So they can come in and learn firearm safety, how to handle them, what to do if they see a gun, what to do if they're around a gun, what to do if one of their friends has a gun. That's for the teens. For the ladies, we bring them in and we have kind of a fun, risque, laid-back class where we show them that, you know, guns aren't going to just jump off the table at them and attack them, and we let them handle them in the classroom and use dummy ammo, and then we bring them out on the range and let them shoot a little bit, and they always have a ball. They just have a lot of fun.
Tell me a little bit more about the conceal and carry classes.
We teach actually more concealed carry classes than any other facility in Ohio. And we're very proud of our conceal and carry classes. We've had people from all over the state come here, senators, congressmen, all kinds of people, because we go into a lot more depth than other people. We have you shoot different caliber handguns. We provide the pistols and the revolvers, and we provide the ammunition, and you shoot 9s and 38s and 22s and 45s. So you get quite an experience with the firearms before you ever decide, you know, what you want to purchase, or even if you want to purchase one, once you find out the laws and those kind of things.
How do we find out more information?
Well, the easiest way is to go to www.nasr.com or give us a call out here at Aim High at 614-939-4867.
Well, thousands of people are victims of identity theft every year. We spoke with Sarah Borland about some ways to prevent becoming one of those victims here at BMI Federal Credit Union. Well, Sarah, thousands become victims of identity theft every year. What can someone do to prevent becoming a victim of identity theft?
Well, the most important thing is to protect your information. You need to make sure that you're keeping all of your identifiable information, such as social security card, credit card numbers, account numbers, phone numbers, in a safe, secure place. So make sure you're keeping that in a safe in your home. Another thing you should do as far as passwords is make sure that they're not something that somebody could easily guess. So a lot of people are using their birthdays or their kids' names. Try to use something that includes uppercase, lowercase symbols that nobody could guess outside of their own situation. Another thing you should do is really pay attention to your billing cycles, because if something isn't right or you're missing a bill, it could because it was diverted somewhere to someone else and now they have your information. You should check your accounts carefully. Really monitor them for any kind of activity that you know that you did not do. And the last thing you should do is really try to remove yourself from any of those direct mail lists. And there are phone numbers and websites out there where you can get information on how to do that.
Well, that's great, but what about becoming a victim of identity theft online?
Be careful, again, where you put your personal information. You know it's necessary to order something online, but make sure that the site you're using is a secure site. You should also try to limit your cookies, especially if you're in a public place like a library or a coffee shop. Another thing you should really do is not use a primary email address. That's not something you want to have out there. If you can just save that for using with friends and family, then that would be best. Another thing is to avoid using debit cards. You should really try to use a credit card when making online purchases. And finally, try to devote one card to making online purchases. That way it's easier to track, it's easier to monitor for fraudulent activity, and that way if anything happens fraudulent, it's all in one place.
You guys actually have a seminar coming up, right?
We do. We have a seminar about identity theft and protecting your identity coming up on April 26th, and you can actually go out to our website and register to attend that presentation. That's just going to be on www.bmifcu.org.
Of course, one other way to protect yourself is to have a will or trust, and our guest joining us today is going to tell us how you can protect yourself with those items. Bob Hendricks is joining us. Bob, welcome to the show.
Very nice to be here. Thank you.
If you were to give our audience one piece of advice, what would you tell them?
I think the first piece of advice is if you have a will and it's more than a few years old, you should at least review it with an attorney, make sure it's up to date. That would be my first piece of advice. My second piece of advice was make sure somebody outside your home knows where the will is. In about 3 out of our 10 cases we work on, we find that they can't even find the will. Everybody knows Dad had one, but nobody can find it.
Now, if a party has a couple wills, they had one and maybe they went and did another one, how does that all work, that process?
Well, that's the old Howard Hughes concept where he had 4 wills. Basically, the law says that we go by the will with the last date. However, as I've seen in a few cases, there were wills that had problems with them, and we fell back to an earlier will, which is not what the deceased wanted to have happen. So it's always important is to make sure if you have a will, there are no others laying around.
Yeah. Let's talk about living documents. There's 3 of them, right? The people should have, and who should have those?
Well, that's correct. I like to call it the 3 living documents. That's my phrase. Some people hear the phrase advanced directives, but they don't know what it means. Yeah. What that basically is you didn't die, you've been declared incompetent. And therefore, we set up what's called a power of attorney, durable power of attorney, that handles all of your financial and legal affairs. The second one is your medical power of attorney. And I like to tell people that's A to Y. That's everything but turn the machines off. The third one is the living will. That's the one everyone thinks of. That's Z. That's turn the machines off. And everyone, again, over the age of 18, husbands and wives, if you have children in college over 18 who are single, because the minute you turn 18, you have no legal rights over each other. And married couples have no legal rights. That shocks people. I don't care if you've been married 52 years, 52 minutes, you have no legal rights over each other. Okay. So therefore, what happens if a spouse goes into the hospital, sudden stroke, car accident, you don't have these documents, you're going to have to be appointed their guardian. And there is no probate court open at 3 in the morning when the accident occurred. Sure. So you're going to have issues to deal with if you don't have these documents in place.
Well, funeral arrangements and pre-planning is another way that you can protect yourself. We really explored this subject in depth on this week's show. We talked to Rick and Rebecca about the Pine Box Agency. So Rick, what is the Pine Box Agency?
Pine Box Agency is a company that offers funeral, cremation, and funeral merchandise information to the public around Ohio.
Yeah. You know, Rebecca, I'm going to turn to you. How are you guys different than from a funeral home?
Well, the Pine Box Agency is not a funeral home. We do advanced funeral planning at no charge for families and help them make wise, educated decisions prior to actually having a funeral.
So, Rick, do you provide funeral services?
We provide funeral services through our sister company, Day and Minoski Funeral Service. We have locations both in Franklin County and in Fairfield County.
You know, Rebecca, I guess one of the obvious key questions here is how much can a family expect to save?
When a family calls us and we review all of their options, typically most families save between 50 and 80% off of their funeral bill.
Funerals are expensive.
Very.
No question about it. You know, anybody that's ever had to plan one certainly knows that. And it's not a bad thing to want to save some money, right?
Correct. A lot of families, when they work with us, they think that with the not hundreds, but typically thousands that they've saved, they can a widow can keep ongoing her mortgage payment more, or leave money in a college scholarship fund for their grandchild, or donate to hospice or Wounded Warriors or their church.
Can a family do pre-planning or make payments in advance?
Oh yes, there's a number of programs that they can set money aside in trust for funeral expenses. Any type of funeral expense or final expense can be set aside in a funeral trust.
How do we get more information? How do we contact you?
Sure, the easiest way, you can call us. We're open obviously 24 hours a day. Our phone number is 614-532-5012. Our website is very helpful. It's www.thepineboxagency.com.
Stay up to date with all the latest news, events, and information from Out and About Columbus by liking us on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Out and About Columbus. To protect your home from fire and keep it secure, you may need a panel just like this. We talked to the folks from Vector Security about their system. We're using a home security system to monitor your home is one of the ways, obviously, to protect yourself. And Vector's one of the biggest, so give me a little of the history on Vector.
Vector's a 40-plus-year-old company based out of Pittsburgh, handling both commercial and residential security. From a residential standpoint, we have about 20,000 plus accounts here in Ohio, and just over 260,000 nationally.
Yeah. Now, you guys do your own monitoring, correct?
Yes, we do. We own and operate 3 redundant award-winning monitoring centers.
Yeah. And I understand that some companies don't really do that. They kind of contract it out, your smaller guys. Is that right or wrong?
That's correct. Yeah. There are a lot of companies that do try to angle things a little differently, save a little bit of money, and have a third-party company do that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the equipment that you guys use to monitor a home security and how and some of the technology that's out there, because I know the technology has just come along so much in the last 10 to 15 years.
The biggest change in our industry really is with relation to the interactive type capabilities and the cellular communication part of the monitoring. Yesteryear, most everybody was connected via landline. Well, landlines are going out, and the whole cellular business is really ramping up. Nowadays, everybody wants to be able to have interactive capability and have control of their security systems from their smartphones. You can turn your lights on and off, adjust your thermostat, locks on and off. You can set up different schedules such that, let's go ahead and turn our security system on. When you turn it on, your lights go out, your doors lock, and your thermostat is adjusted.
Well, Chris, that's great information. How do we get more information about getting an alarm and a security system for our home?
Well, you can go to our website, www.vectorsecurity.com, or you can call our office in Gahanna. That's 614-367-7820.
Having the right insurance protects all aspects of your life for yourself and your loved ones. I spoke with local independent insurance agent Steve Wiles of the Wiles Insurance Agency to discuss the importance of protecting you and your loved ones. What are the benefits of somebody who's looking for insurance to use an independent agent?
Sure. An independent agent is someone who represents a number of different companies. And, we've got a half a dozen different companies that we represent. That gives us the ability to go out and shop rates for you, to shop coverages as well. One of the companies that we represent here in Columbus is Grange Mutual. And we really enjoy working with them. They're a great local company. They have a great service to us and our customers. So another benefit of working with an independent agent is we live in the communities we work in, and we serve the customers in the local area. So after the sale's made, we have the ability to provide answers to any questions somebody would have. And as your needs change, we also have the ability to help improve your insurance plan or make changes as necessary.
Now, what are some of the common mistakes that people make when purchasing home and car insurance?
One of the biggest mistakes that I see people making is focusing too much on price instead of focusing on the coverages that they may need. A lot of times somebody will come into the office and be focused on price, but as we interview and find out their individual needs, we can tailor a program that best fits their situation. One last thing that I hope that anyone listening out here never has to use their insurance. But again, if you do have to use it, I want to make sure that you have the proper coverage in place. And just remember that whether it's home, auto, business, or life, insurance protects against the possible, not the probable.
Next to your home, your vehicles are your most important investments. Keep your assets protected with the latest in security technology. I spoke with Mike and Daryl about the newest security systems available to secure your vehicle. So Mike, give me a little bit of background about Sound Investment and what exactly you do here.
Sound Investment is a car audio shop that was funded in 1991, mostly designed around car audio. As we've done our car audio evolved into the need to protect that equipment as well. So security function of us started very shortly after the audio segment. The need of protecting the elaborate gear that we've been putting in people's vehicles for years is the reason for the security. We have partnered with a company called CompuStar. CompuStar is it is an American company. CompuStar's products are of very high integrity. Beyond that, we believe that it's very important to install the product correctly. Installation, we believe, to be a bigger portion of the function of your remote start or your alarm system, even more than the product itself.
You do not only cars, you do all kinds of other vehicles, correct?
Yes, we do boats, motorcycles. I even have a lot of guys who do landscaping. We do alarms on landscaping trailers. I can put an alarm on just about anything with a wheel on it.
So you secure a wide variety of vehicles, and I understand you even secure motorcycles. How can you possibly do that?
So unlike a traditional alarm where you have a car where there's a door trigger and a shock sensor and stuff like that, usually on a bike we're doing what's called a proximity sensor, so it keeps people from getting close to your bike. There's also things like tilt sensors, so if the bike is set up or tried to be rolled away or moved away, it goes off as well. There's your standard remote, which just looks a lot like a factory remote. Then there are the paging remotes and even the phone notification. So I can even have it call your iPhone or your Android and let you know that, hey, somebody's taking your bike.
Tell us exactly how we can find out more information about Sound Investment.
There's always our website, www.soundinv.com.
What if your kitchen was on fire and you wanted to protect yourself? We're going to tell you today about the ultimate in fire protection from Ron Martin of Dalmatian Fire. My condo doesn't have a sprinkler system in it, and it's a multi-family dwelling. So what's the rule concerning that?
Well, there's a lot of rules. I mean, the book's probably 1.5 inches thick, but it's the type of construction, the height, what the occupancy load is. So there's a lot of things in there that determine whether you've got to be sprinkled at the present code anyway.
Yeah. Now, we're in a downtown apartment, and these are apartments that fall under that code and under that. So walk me through what it takes to get this installed and how this all works and what will happen.
Well, we get, originally we start out with just getting drawings from an architect, engineer, and then we take that and we're an in-house firm that designs, fabricates, and then we take that to installation with our own guys. So we take it from the very beginning all the way through even to the maintenance and the service after we've finished the place and we've moved out. The building's ready to be occupied, we can even come back and do the annual service inspections for them.
So when a fire occurs, and obviously you have smoke detectors and that, but what will this system do then?
Well, fires themselves, you'll have a fire in one room, let's say, and in that one room, the movie show every single head going off in the whole place. Well, that doesn't happen. We've all seen that. So that one head in most residential situations will put out that fire, and it's just that head that goes off. It's heat activated. There's either a link or a glass bulb in there that sets off at a predetermined temperature. And in the residential world, we try to limit the amount of water we're dumping into the home, so to try to control any water damage costs too.
Now, how does it turn off then once it's been activated?
Well, once it's activated, each floor, or at least every building, has its own control valve. You can go in, shut that valve off, and the water slows down. You open up a drain, and then all the water exits back outside.
Where can people get more information about Dalmatian as well as information about overhead sprinklers for residents?
They can obviously call Dalmatian. We'll help you through any of that. 740-549-4509. We're on the internet at dalmatianfire.net.
Well, obviously, karate has benefits like defending yourself, but there's also some other benefits we learned about from Don Matthews at Warrior Spirit Karate. Well, Don, obviously, we know karate is good for self-defense, and we'll talk about that a little bit, but as well, there's some other benefits that maybe people don't realize. So let's talk about the defensive benefits, and then what are the things that you can realize from taking karate.
Well, with taking karate, we learn how to punch, we learn how to kick, we learn how to get out of certain situations, we learn how to be more aware. All of those things play into self-defense. The other thing that I emphasize here are the life skills. So respect, focus, confidence, teamwork, family. And I teach the students how to incorporate those skills not only in martial arts, but into their daily lives.
It's not about street fighting, is it?
No, it's not. It's just about being aware. So don't be the victim. You know, if you can run from the situation, run from the situation. Don't stand there and try to take on somebody that you can't win a fight with.
Let's talk about those physical benefits.
The physical benefits are fantastic. I have friends that are in their 80s that are still doing martial arts. My instructor, Kyoshi Yamazaki, is 75 this year, still going strong. There's no reason for anyone not to do martial arts.
Yeah. It's going to kind of be the follow-up question. Is there an age limit to this, or how young do you start them, and how old do you finish them?
I actually start them at 4 years old. So I have a parent-child class that goes from age 4 to 7 on Wednesday nights, and then 8 to adult on Mondays and Thursdays. There is no age limit. Anyone can do this at any time in their life.
You know, we were kind of joking about arthritis. Does it have any benefits there? And the fact of the matter is, it does, right?
It does. It helps everything. I mean, your energy, the way that you think, your self-esteem. There's so many benefits. It's just too many to list.
So where do we get more information? Because it sounds like a wonderful program.
You can reach us on the internet at www.warriorspiritkarate.com. Our phone number is 1-888-333-2638, or you can email me directly at senseidon@warriorspiritkarate.com.
Stay up to date with all the latest news, events, and information from Out and About Columbus by liking us on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Out and About Columbus. Well, you're getting ready to buy a home. Are these hot water tanks okay? What about this furnace? Well, one way you can protect yourself is a home inspection. We talked to Catherine Shockey from ProTech Engineering about how it can save you thousands of dollars. So, Catherine, tell me a little bit about ProTech Engineering.
ProTech Engineering does home inspections. We're also an engineering firm. We've been in business since 1997. We have 6 full-time inspectors that do inspections, and we actually have a A+ rating on the Better Business Bureau website.
What exactly is a home inspection?
A home inspection is a great idea when buying a home because it's such a big investment. You want to protect yourself financially as well as physically. So it's really important to know what you're getting yourself into. And a home inspector will give you a professional, unbiased opinion of a property. They will inspect the structure and the roof and really all of the elements of the home that can be expensive down the road. So it's a great idea, just to name a few things that they do.
Yeah. Now, do they give you a report, or how do they tell you these things? And do they give you a recommendation? Yeah, you should probably do this property, or no, you shouldn't, or you shouldn't do it until they fix these things. How does that all work?
Sure. We do provide a written report, and we rate all of the elements in the home from fair to acceptable, and we'll make comments next to those elements and give recommendations of what would need to be done to make it better if it's not in good condition.
Now, who exactly uses home inspection?
Well, home buyers are the biggest market for home inspections, and that gives them an idea of what they're getting into before they buy a home. Also, homeowners can benefit from a home inspection by learning more about their property and things that might be outside of their area of expertise. And, when you're building a new home, it's also a great idea to get that inspected as well, so you will catch things before the drywall is hung, for example.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about how you should select a home inspector.
Other certifications that are good to look for are American Society of Home Inspector members. They're required to do ongoing education, so they're current with the trends in building. And professional engineers are PEs, and they're licensed and certified to do structural inspections, which are required for mortgage lenders and appraisers often. In ProTech Engineering, we do have, everyone's an engineer, and everyone is certified to do those inspections. We do have ASHI members as well as PEs on our staff.
Having a good financial planner can certainly make all the difference in your retirement or everyday decisions. We had an opportunity to talk to Phil Radcliffe of Rebel Financial Services about what you should be doing investment-wise. What protection does the consumers have in the financial industry?
So in the financial industry, there are actually lots of protections because there's been a very long history of people abusing those that don't have as an extensive knowledge in the financial world. So especially after the Depression, there were a lot of protections and laws passed, and a lot of those separations between banks and financial institutions existed up until the beginning of this decade, when a lot of those were torn down and caused a lot of the problems with the last downturn. But a lot of the ones that people hear of, there's SIPC, which is Security Investors Protection Corporation, which is kind of like an FDIC for investments in case a firm goes under or what. So a lot of people's money is protected by the government. And then there are the SEC, which is the Security Exchange Commission, which is the most powerful and pretty much over top of everything when you look at investments and what so. And then the state securities, because we've never really gotten too far from the separation of the feds versus the states. So they both kind of do the same thing. The states tend to take below $100 million firms and the SEC above $100 million firms. And those are the actual institutions that audit to make sure to look out for fraud.
Now, what is a fiduciary?
So a fiduciary is someone that has a responsibility to do what's right for their clients before themselves or their firms. And really a lot of us in the industry believe that's the main protection mechanism that should be out there. I mean, even the SEC agrees. They've been trying to pass a fiduciary standard for 25 years, and all that really means is that someone should be doing what's right for their clients rather than just trying to maximize their own profits. And you can make a good living running a business that way.
Well, aren't all companies fiduciaries, or is there some that aren't?
No, most companies actually aren't fiduciaries, and most companies, when they're trying to maximize their profits and they employ lots of different people, you know, who knows what any one of those thousands of employees are going to do or say or shortcuts they're going to take. And so most of the larger companies don't want to take that responsibility. So in that respect, most fiduciaries you're going to find actually dealing with retirement plans or whatsoever are going to be smaller companies, what we refer to as independent registered investment advisors, the smaller firms.
Brides Against Breast Cancer is an organization that stands for a pink purpose. The organization stops in over 100 cities nationwide, displaying and selling bridal gowns from as low as $99 to $3,500 and up. Every gown purchased helps fund programs and services that are free to cancer patients and their families. Brides can purchase their dream gown at an amazing rate and give back at the same time. 80 cents of every dollar raised on the original nationwide tour of gowns goes back to those impacted by cancer. Brides Against Breast Cancer also help promote breast cancer awareness. This year, the organization will distribute over 10,000 breast self-exam cards that help keep women of all ages educated and healthy. Brides Against Breast Cancer will be in Columbus on Sunday, April 6th at the Fawcett Center. All interested brides are encouraged to register for the show at bridesabc.org. At the website, brides will also find more information about new city listings for the nationwide tour of gowns and more information about the organization. That website, once again, is bridesabc.org.